Hey traders, I'm Charting Man Dan of TheChartGuys. It's time for a big picture long-term outlook on Bitcoin, a bunch of altcoins, the broader market itself. We're going to look at the 4-month time frames, the monthly, the weekly, and gauge where we stand from here and what we're looking for the rest of the year. So I'm going to be starting on the 4-month time frames, and honestly, this is a time frame that I've never used in my charting until this past year, and it's because the broader markets have seen significant enough volatility for me to zoom way out and be watching this time frame. And then I look back and I apply it to previous price action. And in the instance of Bitcoin, it was very helpful back in 2020 as we broke out. So we essentially had the breakout in 2017, gave most of the move back. It was a higher low. There's your lower high. There's your higher low. It's just a standard equilibrium that got really tight. And the tighter you get a longer term pattern, the bigger the follow through implications. And obviously we had very significant follow through when this pattern broke bull. But you look at the dollar was a 6-month equilibrium before the most recent breakout, where it was 6 years in the making. Higher low, lower high, higher low, and then that bull move, and then suddenly everybody's talking about the dollar. Meanwhile, nobody was talking about the dollar for a lot of this tightening range. So keep an eye on the longer term time frames when they tighten up. And honestly, as someone who doesn't have large positions in crypto right now, I've got my long-term no touch as I always will, but I'm hoping for another big picture equilibrium to shape up, because I know that years down the road, 2 years, however long it takes, that when those tightening ranges break, that's when there's significant opportunity again, whichever direction they do break. So at this point in time, the 4-month bounce is underway for Bitcoin. And if we look at the Fib retracements, we can see that we've got a long way to go if we are going to be shaping up an equilibrium. We know an equilibrium becomes the more likely scenario when you see volatility in both directions, absolutely, but these bulls want to see a 50% retracement here. And then that's when we're going to be looking for the equilibrium to be the most likely scenario. Could this be a 4-month bear flag? Absolutely, it's a possibility. I don't think it's the most likely scenario, but again, just keeping it on the table as possible, because we're not even close to a 382 retracement. We would need another 50% move from here to get to the 382 retracement, and we would need another, 66% move to see a 50% retracement. And again, these things are possible, but bulls have to continue to prove it. And if they're going to follow through on the 4-month bounce, we need uptrends on the monthly, weekly, and daily. So we've got uptrends right now on the daily and the weekly, but we need it on the monthly. So we have to remind ourselves, we're going to see monthly consolidation here at some point. And when that happens, we can also anticipate sentiment. Depending on how it happens, if it's black swan news, everything's out the window. But if it is just a regular move, let's just say this move goes to the upper 20,000s, 30,000, and then we start the monthly consolidation, that's when everybody's going to be saying, we're heading to lower lows. It was just a bear market rally. And again, maybe that's the case, but we would need to see notable bear volume. We would just need to see notable weakness in the broader stock market. We would likely need a new fear catalyst to see the broader stock market head back to its fear lows if Bitcoin's going to head back to its fear lows. So it would require a lot of things, but just be aware, this has benefited me many times, reminding myself, we know the consolidation is going to take place. I know what people are going to be posting on Twitter as that consolidation is taking place, but keeping a clear mind and eliminating as much bias as possible, watching things play out. And the S&P 500 was the same thing recently, where we saw this rally and we pulled back. This was when we were watching for the 2-week inverse head and shoulders here. And I knew that to form the right shoulder, everybody was going to be talking about we're heading back to fear lows, bear market rally, and obviously that was not the case. We've had a very bullish 5-6 weeks at this point. So 4-month time frame, but we need a monthly uptrend. So whenever we top out, we then need to hold the low and confirm the monthly uptrend. That would be the move that would have us approaching 50% retracement on the bounce, in my opinion. And again, once you have the uptrend, once you have full continuation of trends in the same direction, so monthly, weekly, daily, once they're all in the same direction, that's when you have a lot more conviction. Because when you're in scenarios where, we're in a weekly uptrend, but a daily downtrend, but an hourly uptrend, that's when you have a lot of different bull and bear bias based on what time frame you're looking at. It's when all the time frames align that you can just have one opinion. I'm bullish. Otherwise, it's always with an asterisk. I'm bullish on the weekly, but I'm bearish on the monthly, looking for a monthly lower high. So we're testing monthly EMA 12 and just reminding myself a lot of work is needed here. But the bulls do have their control. We got our weekly support. Bulls will keep full longer term control as long as 21.3 thousand is support. And as far as resistance, after 25.2, we're not seeing a whole lot until the low 30s. So there's a lack of resistance in the upper 20s. And you can see down here, previous support, we would watch for resistance, but pretty much 25.2 up to 28.8, there is very little resistance. So could easily see momentum pick up a bit if we're able to break that resistance level. So 4-month time frame. So let's just do some other comparisons. NVDA, somewhat related to crypto as far as their chips and things like that. But look at the 4-month. Again, I just love the clarity on a lot of these time frames. Massive breakout, massive pullback, and now this is a 50% retracement. So a Bitcoin bull is looking at this and saying, I hope my chart looks like that. That's a 50% retracement that's going to have me watching NVDA for the more likely scenario to be a lower high and then a higher low. And it's entirely possible that because each candle here is 4 months, that may take us to 2024. So keeping an eye on this. And again, this is the way that I often trade as a day trader. I scout significant volatility in both directions, and then I look for equilibriums. And I trade the higher low and then the lower high. And then I try and establish a risk-free position for the direction that the equilibrium breaks. S&P 500, just comparing its 4-month time frame, you could see a huge red flag for all markets would be losing this 4-month EMA 12. Because we've been holding this 4-month EMA 12 in the S&P 500 for about 12 years at this point. The last time we convincingly lost it was 2008. And so you could see if we were to lose it from here, it would be a 4-month downtrend confirmed. And even in 2008, we didn't confirm a 4-month downtrend. We just free fell, and then that was the bottom. So it would be the first 4-month downtrend confirming, and at least as far back as this chart goes, 20 years. And that's when pretty much if the low is not set in the S&P 500, big time red flags for me personally. And that would have us looking for Bitcoin to head back down into the teens and potentially get the, a lot of people calling for 12,000, 10,000, whatever. If the S&P 500 confirms that 4-month downtrend, then that's going to be on the table. And the simple statement would be, if the S&P 500 holds this low, then Bitcoin's bottom is very likely in. So obviously the best case for the bulls would be new all-time highs. NASDAQ has more space to work with, so we could potentially form a 4-month lower high in the NASDAQ and see things tighten up a good bit into 2024. But again, these are just the main things that I'm watching. 4-month time frame on Bitcoin, reference to other tickers that have already bounced more significantly like NVDA, and watching the S&P 500 knowing that if the fear bottom is not set in the S&P 500, then it's, the big major bears have been right. So that is a very important level for me, bigger picture. And what the S&P 500 bulls are going to be hoping for is, again, the same thing. Look at the monthly. So the monthly is a pretty decent bounce here. And if we fail to get over 43.25, let's just go to SPY. So if SPY cannot get over 428, then I'm looking for a monthly inverse head and shoulders, just like the 2-week inverse head and shoulders served us well. If we fail 428 here and we start pulling back, March and April or April and May, whenever it is, you're going to hear everybody talking about new fear lows and just a bear market rally and get ready. And again, maybe that's the case, but it won't happen without huge bear volume and a lot of other indications that we look for in our stock market videos. But I'm going to be watching for the monthly higher low to try and confirm the monthly uptrend. Because again, I know that this bounce is going to top out and that the monthly uptrend will have to confirm if we're going to head back up towards that all-time high and have the uptrend on the monthly, weekly, daily, all aligning in one direction. So I know what would be red flags. I know what the best case scenario is for the bulls. And again, it's now just watching it on a daily basis, but being very patient, knowing that these time frames are so long-term that they're going to take a long time to play out. The dominance chart for Bitcoin, I really like the 6-month time frame. And we have to remember that this is not an instrument, that deals with supply and demand. You don't break a resistance level on the dominance chart and have shorts cover. But high, low, lower high, and this is the bulls attempting to build a significant base of support. It's essentially, not exactly, but almost our third, 6-month candle in a row inside bars. So we can see we're just getting very tight here. And if we get this bull move up in the dominance, and if Bitcoin keeps leading the way up, and it would have to be leading the way up in my opinion, because we think about the last 3-5 years of crypto and what happens far more often than not. If dominance is going up, well, I take that back. Dominance can go up in a bear market. We know the altcoins generally drop faster than Bitcoin. So those are the only two ways the dominance is going to go up. Crypto weakness and everything's dropping faster than Bitcoin, dominance goes up, or Bitcoin breaking out, leading the way, and then altcoins following. And that's what's happening right now. Bitcoin broke weekly resistance. And when it did that, there were maybe 1 or 2 other major altcoins that had done it at that point. And since then, over the last week, we have other names following. OMG follows. And, one by one, the altcoins are following Bitcoin's lead. So I would love to see, again, just give me long-term tightening ranges. Give me a bounce here for years. Give me a 2-year bounce and then a lower high. And then we'll talk about this in 2026 when this breaks. That's something that I would be keeping an eye on. But let's zoom in now to the monthly time frame. And we can see that, again, building the base of support, but we've also got a base of resistance. Let's zoom into the 2-week time frame. And again, they're not, when I say support and resistance, I just mean, key levels for us to be watching. I don't mean, again, the supply and demand is not the same as a stock or a crypto. But here we are right in the middle of the range. We've got a wall of resistance in the 48s, which is 4% away. And we've got a wall of support in the 38, 39s, right around 39, which is 5% away. So we're pretty much right in the middle of this range. Look at the EMAs here. The 2-week EMA is trying to see a bull cross for the first time in years, which would be very notable if the bulls can pull that off. So if we see Bitcoin continuing to lead this bounce, got to get over that 48 level that we've topped out at multiple times, and that would be the 6-month higher low being set for the continued tightening range on the dominance chart. ETH, just a comparison. So 4-month inside bar, trying to break bull here. The difference between ETH and BTC is ETH does have a monthly trend change on the table, because here Bitcoin dropped to a lower low and ETH did not, because the initial bounce was more significant. We had more space for the monthly higher low, which is now set. And now the bulls are looking to break 2031. And we talked about this, way back when. I certainly wasn't making predictions, but I was laying out there's a possible scenario, because these altcoins bounce so much more significantly percentage-wise than Bitcoin. If Bitcoin breaks to a lower low with a lack of follow-through, a lot of these alts are going to be looking for a monthly higher low. And so that's what ETH has done. And if we confirm a break of 2031, we then have a monthly, weekly, daily uptrend. And that's when we look for this 4-month to try and see as much retracement for the bulls as possible, ideally 50%. At least 50%. And again, that's a long ways away. 2870. So let's see, we would need a lot. Percentage-wise, to get to 382, to try and eliminate the bear flag, we're looking up at needing 35%. I mean, that's not a huge amount, but 50%, 68% away for the 50% bounce retracement. ETH BTC, got to be cautious here, because if that dominance chart gets over those 48, that 48 zone, we're going to be looking for a lot of alt BTC pairings to be showing us weakness. And this is the 6-month time frame for ETH BTC, where we had the huge raging market in 2017. We gave it all back just by dropping a lot harder than Bitcoin in the bear market that followed that crazy run. We then saw the big move up as far as ETH outperforming Bitcoin again, percentage-wise, on the most recent bull run. And now we're chopping around a bit. But if we roll over, then we're just going to be watching for the same thing, a long-term tightening range here. And it was a 6-month higher low, tried to break resistance and failed. And so if we come back down here and break support, then again, that's going to be significant as far as showing us that BTC is clearly the place to be over ETH. And I've been watching the 2-week time frame, which is still a possible equilibrium, but the bulls really need to hold that level right there of 6.6 to try and see this 2-week equilibrium continue to tighten up. So we're close to seeing ETH roll over in seeing more relative weakness. And again, that's going to definitely have implications as far as on any given trade that I'm watching, choosing BTC over ETH if we get this 2-week sideways range breaking bear. And if looking bearish, that means choosing ETH over BTC if looking bearish. The names that we want to be watching if we see continued moves, so if Bitcoin's going to bounce on the 4-month time frame, through the spring and summer and make its way up to 382 retracement and try to get to 50% retracement, then the names to be watching for the best risk and reward are the names that are newer and are in price discovery, all-time high blue sky breakout. The majority of the gains that I've made in my life as a trader are in blue sky breakouts, cannabis stocks, crypto, and it's happened multiple times. And that's when, again, when you can make a lot of money in a short amount of time because of that price discovery, because of the lack of resistance, the lack of bag holders. Think about how many bag holders there are in something like NEO. Like how much resistance does NEO have to work through to get back to all-time high? A ton. There's a ton of bag holders. Whereas these newer coins like MAtic, there's no resistance overhead. So if we have a bull move for a couple of months here, these are the coins that are going to see the percentage returns that far outpace a lot of more established coins that have a lot more liquidity. Liquidity is great for day trading. I need liquidity for day trading, but I want a lack of liquidity if we're in a blue sky breakout. And that's what happened in 2017 in crypto. There was a lack of liquidity and a huge rush of demand. And so that's when things get really extreme. So on MAtic, the weekly time frame right now, we can see some upper wicks. So we're getting a little bit tired for the bulls. But again, there's a lot lower volume as well. You got to be aware of that. We are still trading on Binance, $60 million a day on average. So that's plenty to be trading with, at least for me. And again, just volatility in both directions. You have to anticipate that 40% pullback into a 75% bounce in the span of a couple of weeks. So it's certainly not for the faint-hearted here. You just have to ensure that you're using smaller position sizes or you're not over leveraging, because these names, while they do have significant opportunity, definitely very volatile on pullbacks as well. So at the moment, we're scouting a daily high or low, and we're watching how long can bulls maintain this run. And there's a few other names that are near their all-time highs. OP is another one, and trying for a weekly bull flag. If the weekly bull flag confirms, we're back to blue sky breakout. So I would have a list of names that have all-time highs in play, because again, just have to have a scenario. Okay, what if this rally does not continue over the spring? And what if we get monthly consolidation? What are you going to do? And what if it does continue? What's going to be your focus? What's going to be your game plan? And we want to ensure we have those game plans laid out in advance. So I would highly suggest getting very familiar with a couple of the names that are near all-time highs for the potential that they become the big running coins in terms of percentage moves. If you don't have names near all-time highs, the next best thing is having names with BTC pairings near all-time highs. So here's MAtic, and I haven't cared about MAtic for the majority of my crypto trading, but over the last month, that has changed. And that's because MAtic has significantly strengthened over the last month comparative to a ton of other crypto names. And so here we have, this is not a cup and handle, but the psychology of a cup and handle is there. What do I mean by that? Well, because of all this, it's unclear, but I'm looking at an all-time high, a significant period of consolidation, an inability to break an all-time high, and this is a bull flag. So you have the makings, you have the little pieces, it's not a picture that you'd put in a textbook, but if we get this bull break of this double top at the all-time high, then that's going to continue having MAtic be a lead bull. And you look bigger picture, 4-month time frame, the bounce is already much more significant than Bitcoin. If we're talking retracements, we're looking at almost 50%. So every altcoin bull, and Bitcoin is looking at this and saying, I hope my chart does what MAtic's doing, because again, this is the ideal scenario. Huge breakout, huge pullback, big bounce to scout a lower high. And then we scout the high or low. Who knows? Maybe we have tightening ranges into 2024. We'll keep checking in on this every few months, but MAtic looks great compared to a lot of other names. And again, it can get the party going. Obviously, there's been significant opportunity already, but that can get magnified in a big way if that BTC pairing breaks out to all-time highs. So most important, names at all-time highs that have the US dollar and the BTC pairing blue sky breakout. Second best scenario, names that are not blue sky breakout US dollar pairing, but the BTC pairing is near blue sky breakout. And the third best scenario for altcoins to be watching are the names where their BTC pairings are setting up or trying to set up longer term trend changes. So Link has a lot of proving to do, but Link BTC, stair-step pattern for 6 months, stronger than Bitcoin, weaker than Bitcoin for 2 months. And now if we can confirm a monthly uptrend, then the BTC pairing will have a monthly, weekly, daily uptrend. And that will be notable. Any alt BTC pairing, you want to see as many timeframes in an uptrend as possible. So that's the order of importance of names that I would be watching, big picture. And that is my outlook on crypto here, bigger picture. Do I think the bottom's in? I think that it's more likely than not that the bottom is in, but I'm not, extremely confident. So have to be protective just in case. But I do believe that it's going to require a whole new wave of new headlines, not just, we know about rate hikes. We know if inflation starts running away again, then that's definitely an unknown headline. But I think the S&P 500, if we're going to break that 4-month low that we looked at, has to see a new wave of fear, not the same wave of fear that we just pulled back all of 2022 with. So we'll see how it plays out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.